I and my younger brother lost our parents. Well, this incident happened to me when we used to live with our mother only because our father had passed away when we were very young. My mother brought me and my younger brother up in a very good way, to be honest. It was really hard for us to accept, but our mother also passed away only a few years after our father did. As we used to live in an apartment, and after our parents' death, there was no one who could earn money and give the rent of that apartment. I, being the elder brother, took the responsibility of that and started a job. Our landlord, because of the delayed payments, also asked us to leave the apartment within 2 months. I started to search houses or apartments in which we could both live. After a few days of me starting the search for a house, a friend of me told me about a house nearby. I asked my friend for the landlord's number before even he could finish his sentence because we were actually in a hurry. So a few days later, I saw the house and met the landlord, and I also showed that house to my younger brother because he had to live in that house more than me. I asked him if he was comfortable living in a house like that because normally I would be on my job and he had to live there alone. He also agreed, and just after like a month we shifted to that new house. Everything was fine for a few days in the start, but one day when I came back from office I saw that my younger brother was not in the house. I was just thinking where he could be, and I received a call from him right at that moment, and he told me that he won't be able to come home as he decided to stay at my aunt's home that night. As I was alone at home that night, I decided to close all the doors and windows before sleeping. I also closed the door of my room because, to be honest, I was a little scared. I was reading a storybook in my room in my bed when I heard a knock at the main door. It was not like a proper human knock, it was just a small knock. I thought a cat or a mouse or some small animal might be there, so I decided to ignore it. But only a little time later, I heard a knock again. I thought it might be wind or something like that because if my brother was to come, he would have always called me first. But then I remembered that I had already closed all the windows and the doors, so it was not possible for wind to come in. I was just going through all of this when I heard a loud banging at the main door, and at the same time I heard someone walking in the hallway, which was very strange because only I and my younger brother lived there and he was already at my aunt's house that night. So I immediately got up and went to the main door to check when I felt a gust of wind. Then everything became normal. I looked here and there, but there was no one outside the door. After a lot of searching, when I found no one, I guessed that what was happening to me was because I closed my room's door. The ghost or whatever it was maybe didn't just like it. Then I said, probably shouted in a very loud voice, that I want to stay here. I said that I live here with my brother and I am going to live here with my brother. What you have done today with me, don't ever dare to do this again with my brother or me. I said all of this because my grandmother always said that you should always get straight up with these things or they will continue to haunt you again and again. Nothing as such happened to us after that. Then after a year we shifted from the house. On the last day in the house, I met an old neighbor in the street. He was an old and a wise man, and he told me that no one had dared to live more than a few months in this house because everyone believed that it was haunted. He told me that because of this house was empty for about 5 years. We were the first tenants to live there after the horrible incident that happened 5 years ago. He told me that there lived a sweet couple with their 9-year-old daughter in that house. The wife that lived there got possessed by an evil spirit. Then she tied her husband in the sleep and her daughter as well and then burned them both, after which she went on to burn herself. This story was pretty famous in the neighborhood, but I had never heard of it and I got terrified. But it was a little comforting at the same time that we were leaving. I have 2 brothers, one is elder than me and one is younger than me. All of us used to sleep on the same bed and our parents were in the room next door. This happened to me when I was about 8 years old. Just as usual, all of us were sleeping when at midnight I woke up. I woke up in order to go to the restroom, but when I woke up, electricity was gone. I heard someone singing and bathing in the washroom, and it was a girl's voice, an adult perhaps. As it was dark everywhere in the room because the electricity was gone, I was very scared to go to the washroom to check, so I just laid down on my bed. The sound of singing stopped after some time. Then I thought that I should go to my parents' room, because even though the singing had stopped, I was still scared because I did not hear any door opening. If my mother was taking a shower, she must have left, right? So to go to my parents' room, I started finding the edge of the bed. It was all dark in the room and I was not able to find the edge of the bed. I absolutely tried my level best to get off that bed that night, but it felt like my bed was surrounded by walls from all four sides. After getting exhausted by trying again and again to get off the bed, I just laid down and I started crying loudly, and I have no idea when I went to sleep, but I firmly remember that I was sweating a lot. That night felt like a never-ending night and was not less than a nightmare for me. I woke up the next day and told my parents about what had happened to me, but they never believed me and told me that it was just a dream. I, on the other hand, firmly remember that this was not the case, and I don't even think for a second that it was a dream, because when I woke up in the morning that night, my sleeping suit was full of sweat. Subscribe to Horror Jam for daily horror stories and press the bell icon so that you could get notified every time a new story is uploaded. You can also share your experiences on the email given down below.